So in this lesson we're going to look at how we find a percentage of an amount with a calculator. I'm also going to show you how you find percentages of amounts without a calculator. I'll do that in a separate video. We do that using what's known as our easy percentages, but today you'll be okay to use a calculator for these. We'll start off with our examples. We've been asked to find 13% of 240. I'm going to show you two methods, and again it's down to you, whatever way you prefer doing it. Stick with that method. The first one is if we want to find 13% of 240, well, we know percentages are out of 100, so I divide by 100 to find 1%. So I take the amount 240, I divide that by 100, and that's going to give me 1%. Okay, so that is 2.4. So 2.4 is 1%. So I divide by 100 in any of these questions to find 1%. And then I simply take that 1% and I multiply by the percentage I'm trying to find. So in this case 2.4, I multiply that by, in this case I'm trying to find 13%, and that gives me 31.2. Just remember, this is the amount of money we're dealing with, so we keep a pound sign in. And remember, money should always be given to two decimal places, because we're dealing with pence here, so £31.20. Okay? So that's the first way. Divide by 100, multiply by the percentage. The second way is what's known as using a decimal multiplier. So what I do in these, if I want to tackle it this way, is I consider the percentage, in this case it's 13%. I use its decimal equivalent, so 13% as a decimal is 0.13. And I just multiply the amount by that decimal. So 240 by 0.13. And again, just to show you in a calculator, that will give me the same answer. Okay, so 31.2. Again, in that case, it's just down to whatever you prefer. So I prefer this method, just I think it's a wee bit quicker. It's quite easy to convert a percentage into a decimal, just divide it by 100. The digits within the number will stay the same. So I just find this a wee bit quicker personally, although it is perfectly fine just to divide by 100 and multiply the percentage if you prefer doing it that way. Moving on to our second example. So what is 72% of 520 milliliters? So milliliters is going to be our units here at the end of the answer. So I take 520, use the first method, divide it by 100, which will be 5.2. So that will be 1%. But I don't want 1%, I want 72%. So take that 5.2 and I multiply it by 72, and that's going to give me 72%. Okay, so 5.2 times 72 is 374.4, and remember my units in this case is milliliters. Okay, so divide by 100, multiply that by the percentage. Okay, if I want to use my decimal multiplier, 72% as a decimal is 0.72. So I'm going to take my original amount, 520, multiply by 0.72, and I should get the exact same thing. 520 by 0.72. There we go, same thing. So 374.4 milliliters. All right, moving on, the next one. Okay, so in this case we're going to find 7% of 360 kilograms. So I take my amount, 360, use the first method, divide by 100, and then multiply by 7. So it gives me 3.6. I take that 3.6 and then multiply it by the percentage I'm trying to find, which is 7. So 3.6 by 7, 25.2, and in this case my units is kilograms kg. Using my decimal multiplier. Now just be careful of something like this. 7%, the most common mistake is that somebody would write 0.7. 0.7 would be 70%. Okay, if you're unsure of what the decimal multiplier is, just take the percentage, divide it by 100. Just to show you, 7 divided by 100, 0.07. Okay, so 7% is 0.07. Okay, once we know that decimal multiplier, just take my original amount and multiply it by that decimal multiplier, and I should get the same amount, 360 by 0.07, and I get 25.2 again. Okay, There you go. Same thing on the calculator for both answers. All right, one last example just to show you, and it's just again to help you, particularly with our questions involving the decimal multiplier. We bit more of an awkward percentage, 23.4% of 490. I'm going to take 490, use the first method, divide by 100, then multiply that by 23.4, so I get 4.9, and I take that 4.9 and I multiply it by 23.4. Okay, I mean, it is perfectly fine to also put that into the calculator in one go. Okay, 490 divided by 100. And again, I'm just showing this, I'm working out like this, but if you were to do that, 490 divided by 100 and then multiply by 4.9, 24, sorry, sorry, 490 divided by 100 and then multiplied by 23.4. Just want to be careful of my decimal place, 114.66. Okay. A couple of wee things that can help me, and just to point out, I could tell I'd made a mistake in the calculators. 23.4 is roughly 25%, which is a quarter. So I know that's roughly around 500. So I should be getting something around 125. And when I was getting an answer that was in the thousands, I'd known I'd made a mistake when I was putting that in the calculator. So estimation is something can help you there as well. Straightforward for the first one, divide by 100, multiply by the percentage. For the decimal multiplier, again, just be careful, 23.4, if you want to change that into a decimal, divided by 100. Okay, and when you put that in the calculator, it'll give you 0.234. So once you know that decimal multiplier, just multiply the original amount by that, 490 by 0.234. And again, just to show you, I get the same thing. All right. It's also good to know both methods as well. If you ever want to check your answer, you're unsure. Okay, just remember pounds, as it is an amount of money. It's also good to know the two methods as a way of checking your answer. So there you go. I'll post some questions for you to try. Anything you're unsure about, just ask.